everyone, welcome to Film Snobbery Live. I am your host, the film snob, Nic Baisley. With me tonight, as usual, is my co-host, Mr. Jerry Cavallero, the director of Stuck Like Chuck. He's here, everyone. Hey, Jerry, how you doing?
Good. Hi, everyone. How are you, Nick?
Oh, I'm fired up tonight. We have such a good show tonight.
I know.
Oh, you feeling it, Jerry? You feeling the vinegar?
It's going to be a fun show. I know it's going to be a fun show.
I'm really excited
I can
about
tell you
what
didn't get dressed up tonight.
Oh, I figured that if the gloves are coming off tonight, then there's really no. I'm dressed like I'm ready for the street brawl. No hat, no coat, no tie, nothing. I'm ready to go.
It's relaxed. It makes sense.
It's going to be a really good show. Mostly, it's going to be a really good show because we have a great guest on tonight. I have some good news and some bad news for everybody. The great news is that we have the beautiful and talented actress and directress Marion Kerr on the show tonight. Bad news is that another guest that we had scheduled for tonight, Mr. Kevin Pollak, was not able to make it. Unfortunately, he overbooked. But you know what? The guy was classy enough to at least email me personally and let me know and even offer up other dates. So we're working that out with him right now. We will have him back on the show in the very near future to talk about Vamped Out and the Kevin Pollak Chat Show. I'm really excited about talking to him with all that kind of stuff. So that being said, everyone, we're gonna lead off onto this particular show with Marion Kerr's directorial debut, the trailer for her movie Golden Earrings. So we'll be right back with Marion Kerr right after this.
Have you ever seen Rebel Without a Cause?
Yeah.
It was Sarah's favorite movie. And we always used to do the part where James Dean says, "Is this where you live?" And Natalie Wood says, "Who lives?" If she was James Dean, I'd be Natalie Wood.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yep.
So I have my cell phone with me, so you can call me if you need anything. See you, Ronnie.
See ya.
So, what are we doing?
Rebel Without a Cause?
Yeah.
It was Sarah's favorite movie. And we always used to do the part where James Dean says, "Is this where you live?" And Natalie Wood says, "Who lives?" If she was James Dean, I'd be Natalie Wood.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Yep.
So I have my cell phone with me, so you can call me if you need anything. See you, Ronnie.
See ya.
So, what are we doing tonight?
Ron, can we make Jack levitate now?
Come on, guys. Okay, everybody, close your eyes. Concentrate. Relax. Is there anyone who would like to talk to us? What's your name?
Stop it! There's no way. I mean, that could only be...
Yeah, she's dead.
You don't think it was just Ronnie being melodramatic?
She really seemed to believe it. I have to go down tomorrow and give a statement.
Now, this whole thing is getting way out of hand.
Have you talked to Julian?
No, I called him. He didn't call me back.
He's not the most consistent guy in the world.
It's not like any of us are okay. This whole thing is insane.
No, Faye, you're not listening to me.
Brian's really starting to lose it.
In case you haven't noticed, the past 2 days have not been about you. You, for once, are going to do something by yourself.
I didn't want to be alone.
It's your fault.
Listen to my story, which may be sad but true.
Hey, guess what, everyone? We're back, and I'm here with Marion Kerr.
Hello.
Hey, Marion, how you doing?
Good, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, and I know you have a booked evening as well, so thank you for making the time for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it is a pleasure. And so we got so much to talk about, and I know that we're kind of all, both of us, limited for time tonight. I want to talk about this movie, Golden Earrings, that you've got going on, but that you're just getting out there, and you guys are having your premiere.
Yeah, we had our world premiere at the Indie Spirit Film Festival about 3 weeks ago, which was amazing. It was in Colorado Springs. It's a great festival. Really, really recommend it to other filmmakers. And we won Best Horror Feature there, which was kind of awesome. And we are having our West Coast premiere at Dances with Films this June. The dates actually just went up today, and it'll be Tuesday, June 8th.
Tuesday, June 8th at the Dances with Films Festival?
Yes, at the Dances with Films, and that's for people who live in LA. That's at the Lumley Sunset 5 on Sunset and Crescent Heights.
Yes, you definitely want to go check that out. I actually recently reviewed Golden Earrings. You guys can actually go check out the review over at FilmSnobbery.com. I was really engaged by your characters. You wrote very good characters, and the actors' performances specifically, yours included, because you have a role, obviously, yourself. You guys, where did you find your actors?
Most of them were people that I had worked with before, so I knew everybody going into it, which I think was a tremendous help. And in working with everybody and, you know, getting that kind of authentic group dynamic. Some of them, two of them, actually that's wrong, three of them, Julia Marquesi, who plays Ronnie, Anthony DiMano, and Lauren Mora, who play Alex and Faye, respectively. I went to college with them, so we had done plays and short films and things in college together. And then the rest of the cast I met when I was here in LA, and most of us are actually friends in real life. We're not the characters that we're playing, but we actually are friends in real life and do hang out and do things together. So I think that actually helped us out a lot. We're very fortunate in that respect.
Yeah, I was really getting the vibe that, you know, the way the dialogue flowed, you guys really had the rapport down, so that like you were friends and stuff like that, because you spoke very realistically, and also the words flowed very well. I mean, people kind of were able to talk over each other a little bit. In that way, it kind of almost reminded me, and take it as a compliment, of like an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where, you know, the dialogue is just very fast and loose, but but it just, you could tell the chemistry was just really there between all the characters, and I really liked that. And definitely props to your lead actress, because she actually did very good displaying that wide range of emotions, everything from fear, paranoia, to the crying and happiness and stuff like that. I mean, she just did a really good job, and it seemed like that role was very demanding physically from an emotional perspective.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, I know Julia had talked to me about before about, you know, she was definitely nervous to come in and do it, and, you know, Ronnie's a pretty complicated girl, and I think we were all sort of nervous about how much the audience would really like her and really kind of relate to her, because there's a lot to her that, you know, she doesn't do a lot of likable things in the movie, and, you know, I think we were all a little nervous about, how to portray this character in such a way that audiences, you know, hopefully would empathize with her and her plight, but yet, you know, stay true to all the complicated dynamics that is part of this character, you know, some of which is not good stuff. But I think Julia did an outstanding job with that, and, you know, I was confident that she could do it, but, you know, in the end, my expectations were definitely met and exceeded.
Yeah, no, it's a really well put together film, well shot. It's really good. I enjoyed it a lot, and I highly recommend everyone else go and check it out as well. What was the genesis of this movie? Like, where did the idea come from, and then what made you decide that you wanted to direct this versus, letting someone else that may have a little bit more experience behind the camera to handle it, or how did that work?
Wow, okay. I'm going to try and figure out a really short way to answer it, because it's actually a really long story. But the upshot is that I'm an actor living in LA, and when I first moved out here, I went to the New York Film Academy and studied film there, and then after I graduated, when I came out here, I started making short films with my friends, you know, who were also actors, mostly because we were just kind of really sick very quickly of just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring, and that's just not really what we were into doing, so we decided that we were going to make our own projects, and so I started writing a bunch of little shorts, and Golden Earrings was actually originally conceived as a short, to work with these same people, and the more I was sort of, writing it, gradually it sort of was fleshing itself out to be a feature film. And my producer, Brian Crew, I originally I brought the script to him as something that he and I would do together as part of another project altogether. And the more he and I talked about it, when that other project kind of fell through, we decided that we could probably do this ourselves. In fact, Brian was the one who really convinced me that we could do this ourselves because the story only had about the 6 central characters. It takes place in virtually one location the entire time, and it was just really constructed around a doable scenario. So, you know, after really a lot of convincing, I think probably more from him than from anybody else, we decided to, you know, again, I'm not really one to sit around and kind of do nothing and wait for the phone to ring, so I decided if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it now.
No, you're actually a very busy actress. I mean, you've got something, Heart of Now, that's coming out soon from Sabi Pictures, our good friend Zach Forsman and all those guys. And then were you also? We actually had a question from the audience. They were trying to place you. King as a Fink was asking, were you also in I Fucking Hate You?
I was, yeah, I did. Yeah, we did. I did that film a couple years ago. Also with Zach Forsman, just after we finished Heart of Now.
Yeah, and so were you able to take a lot of these experiences from a lot of your acting performances and stuff like that, and able to translate them well as a director? I mean, were you like the actor's director, kind of?
I mean, I'm sure they probably thought I was, mostly because, you know, my cast all knew that I was an actor, and, you know, obviously I can relate tremendously to, you know, to how they feel and things that they may need, but I think the biggest thing that I learned was, you know, through being an actor, was picking up a lot of things on other sets that I definitely did not want to do. I think I discovered more, you know, just through being an actor, like, oh, okay, that guy, I'm never going to do what that guy's doing right there, you know, like a lot of little things like that, because it just would either, you know, ruin an environment or just, you know, not create a very safe place, or, you know, just like a lot of little things that I think sometimes directors aren't very cognizant of that they are doing that is very distracting for an actor or problematic. And I think I was more determined not to do any of those things, you know, more than anything else.
What is your plan for release for Golden Earrings? You know, I mean, you're starting off on the festival circuit, having your premiere there, and what's your plan for after that, as far as your distribution route?
I mean, I'm definitely doing the self-distribution route. It's the kind of thing where I feel like I have my, even really barring festivals, you know, I sort of had my plan of how I wanted to release my film. I'm partnering with a couple of different companies, one of which is IndieFlix, to get the film in platforms that I directly don't have access to, like iTunes and Netflix and things like that. I definitely am going to release it on my website. A date to be determined, hopefully this summer, fingers crossed. But you know, regardless of whether or not I got into any festivals or did anything like that, I sort of had this trajectory that I was going to take my film to release it myself and hopefully make some of my money back myself. So really just all the festival success that we've had has just sort of been icing on the cake in terms of getting our film out there to bigger and bigger audiences that are further and further away every time. It's really been nothing but helpful, but I'm certainly not hinging what I'm going to do with my film based on whether or not festivals accept me or not.
And as far as the acceptance so far, I mean, are you getting a warm welcome from the independent film community, film festivals, reviewers, and stuff like that? You know, on this.
Now I am. Last year, nobody really cared, pretty much, which is kind of hilarious to me. But I know that's kind of how this business works. Where I submitted to, you know, a lot of festivals last year. I guess I shouldn't say a lot, but a few festivals last year. And it was like crickets, man. It was like nothing. You know, which is obviously discouraging. But then for whatever reason, you know, we made some changes to the film before we resubmitted, and I think we were able to we got some reviews and some great quotes from a couple of directors. So I think going forward with this round of festival submission, this round of festival submissions, having these quotes, having a little press behind us, it seems to have really helped.
Do you want to plug those directors? Because I mean, these are people that I think that the audience would definitely know.
Totally, yeah. No, we had a private screening in LA at the end of last year, and it was basically for cast and crew and, you know, a few selected people, and we were very fortunate to have Joe Dante of Gremlins fame and Ryan Johnson, who directed Brick and The Brothers Bloom, come to the screening, and they both gave us quotes that are big and huge on our front page of our website, and they were great. They had a great response, and, you know, they spoke with me after the screening, and they were very enthusiastic, and I think that has definitely helped us a lot going forward with festivals this year.
I can definitely tell you that it's like Joe Dante, Ryan Johnson, and then Nic Baisley, and then it's gonna, the floodgates are going to open. That's exactly how it's going to be for you. No, as a matter of fact, don't feel bad if some of them that did accept you start rejecting you after the fact, because they're like, this Nic Baisley guy, we don't like the cut of his jib.
Well, maybe after tonight, ooh.
But so let's talk a little bit about how you guys how you got involved with Zach Forsman over at Sabi Pictures. I mean, you did I Fucking Hate You. You also now have Heart of Now. Tell us a little bit about Heart of Now. What's going on with that?
Well, Heart of Now is having its world premiere at the Dead Center Film Festival in Oklahoma on June 11th, I believe. Which is kind of nice, just a few days after ours. I met Zach Forsman and Kevin Shaw when I auditioned for Kevin's film White Knuckles, which is the sister film to Heart of Now, which was shot before Heart of Now, and I have a small part in that, playing actually the same character as I did in Heart of Now, and that's when I really met both of them, and it was an audition just like any other audition that you go to, and they called me back, and there was a very elaborate callback process, which seemed a little too elaborate for a one-day role. I didn't really understand that at the time, and then after we finished on White Knuckles, Zach mentioned to me and the other actor that they cast, Kelly McCracken, who plays Gabe in Heart of Now, started talking about this other film, and that our characters would continue on, and we'd be the leads in this other film, and would we be interested in doing that, and it seemed kind of like an extraordinary thing he was bringing up, because I really thought I was hired for like a one-day job, and then I was going to be like, all right, have a nice life, everyone, bye, and then like, peace out. And then he, not only mentioned this film, which I was like, all right, cool, sounds good, whatever. He actually contacted us a few weeks later and started talking about it, and I started getting early drafts of the script, and it actually seemed like it was happening, and that it did happen. And it, that's kind of how our collaboration began.
Sounds almost like the beginnings of a jaded Hollywood actress that was then saved from that.
Oh, totally. And that's the thing too, is like I felt so bad afterwards, because I so was like I swear I try really hard like not to be that completely jaded person, but yeah, definitely. I mean, you get a lot of that. You do. I feel like I've done a lot of independent films, with guys and girls who are, very enthusiastic about these projects, and, oh my gosh, then I'm going to do this with them, we're going to get in this festival, it's going to be amazing, and then seriously, you, never hear from them again. And if you're lucky, maybe you get a copy of it for real, but most of the time, you never hear from these people again. Yeah. So, as great as Zach and Kevin seemed, I feel like I'd been burned so much by that happening to me, that I was like, wow, that sounds really great, but I wasn't going to, fall for it and, get my heart broken again, So...
well, it's like getting into a relationship. It's going to last a few years. You're going to have some good times, some bad times, and then, eventually you break up. Unless it's your project, then you're married to it for the rest of your life, and you just can't wait for the kids to get out and go to college.
And this is true, and that is definitely the big difference between being a director and being an actor, which, I don't think I fully realized when I started this project, that, yeah, it is night and day. There are a lot of similarities, at least that I see, but as far as, the commitment, it totally is your baby. It is like your child, and, if you're going to start a film, that's fine, but it's like, you better be prepared to, take it all the way to college, because, if not, you're kind of wasting your time. Yeah, no,
it's definitely a commitment. You're looking at it generally like a three-year commitment, but I'm very happy about Heart of Now being accepted at the Dead Center Film Festival. That's a major film festival. Those of you who don't know it, it is. It's in most people's top 10s. As a matter of fact, I believe even one of the people, not John Reese, the guy, Paul Osborne, the guy who did Official Rejection, he even talks about Dead Center as being one of their top ones.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of great things about it, and I'd love to go. I'm not sure if it'll work out or not, but I've heard about it for a while, and I'm definitely excited that it's premiering there.
So, did you have any difficulties when you were making Golden Earrings? Did you have any problems that during the production where you were like, oh God, I don't know if this might not get done?
You mean whether or not the film would get finished or not?
Yes, or if there were, or even something that just completely interrupted a day where it's just I have no idea how we're going to overcome this problem at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like that happened really more in post than in production. Our production schedule was super tight. We shot this film in 9 days. and really in 9 nights. So, I mean, we were just so, like, full steam ahead, blinders on, like, it wasn't even an option that we weren't going to physically finish shooting it. I think really it was post and how long post-production took, because we were doing so much through friends and favors and, you know, a lot of shortcuts and things like that, because, you know, we just didn't have, like, a ton of money to, like, chuck at our problems. So when you're doing that kind of thing, things do take a lot longer, and that's the kind of, that's when you start having the feeling like, is this thing ever going to get done? Like, do I still want to do this? Do I, you know, all these kind of things, you know, the highs and the lows that you kind of go through, for me, really happened during post-production, which, you know, took way longer than production or pre-production.
Did you have a hard time directing yourself?
Yes, I thought it sucked. I talked about this at Indie Spirit, you know, and I'm really, like, floored by, like, you know, Mel Gibson and Kenneth Branagh and guys like this that can do, like, these, you know, massive movies and have these massive parts in these movies, and really, like, I have, like, the smallest part in the entire film, but no, I didn't really like it, to be honest. I felt like having to shift back and forth between now I'm an actor, now I'm a director, now I'm an actor, was very rattling to me. I had thought originally when we were planning everything out that I would shoot like 2 days and then that's it, and then I would just like focus on directing the rest of the film. And it didn't really work out like that in the schedule. I was sort of filming a little bit almost every day. And I found it really difficult. I mean, luckily my producer, Brian Crew, I trusted him enormously, and we talked about Sarah a lot, and we talked about what I really wanted the dynamic between Ronnie and Sarah to be like, so I really had to trust him, and, you know, and ultimately he did a great job, but it was, you know, it was really hard. It's not something that I maybe would necessarily do again in the future.
You know, one of the things I noticed when I was watching your movie is you have a lot of throwback references and a lot of, you know, use a lot of old music and stuff like that. I mean, you bring out Rudolph Valentino, you bring out, you know, just a lot of things. Is that, are you kind of like a classic movie cinephile type of person, or is that just kind of a, you know, do you like that era?
Both. I am kind of that person. I'm pretty silent film nerdy, but I mean, I'm not as nerdy as the character of Faye is about it, but I have, you know, I have one friend in particular who Faye is based on, and she's like way nerdy about it, like dresses up like that, you know, only watches silent films, like, you know, this color picture thing's a fad, you know, she's like that kind of person about it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these classic things, like the James Dean stuff and movies from that era are always very near and dear to my heart, and so, of course, they worm their way in.
No, and the use of the, when the scenes where the record was playing really created some great ambiance, and I also want to commend you on your sound overall. It actually was put together very well.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Well, I have DJ Lynch did our final sound mix, and he's a very talented guy.
Do you feel that that's something that's really important that needs to be, that you really, as a filmmaker, need to focus on in your film, is to make sure that that soundtrack feels just very integrated into your film versus kind of like laid on top of it?
For me, yeah. I mean, I know, and you actually brought this up in your review, which I actually really appreciated. And, you know, this is definitely a creative debate I had a lot in the film, was whether or not to have score or to have sound that wasn't naturally occurring in the environment. But for me, you know, my own personal preference, certainly with this story, was to have all the sound be diegetic and just have all the, you know, this movie is told from a very particular character's point of view, and I really wanted everything that the audience see and hear to be pretty much what she is seeing and hearing, and to not have that sense of like, something scary is coming, here I am the filmmaker trying to tell you as the audience how to feel right now. Like, just, you know, she's living it, so you live it. You see what she sees, you know, and you grab from it whatever it is you want to grab from it. That's kind of the stance that I decided to take, which of course means a lot of silence, which, you know, is not everyone's cup of tea, but, you know, but when I've seen it done in other films, and I've always really appreciated it, and I thought it would be appropriate for this film.
And it was very appropriate for this film. So that being said, where else can we see what you're working on right now? Let's plug some websites. Let's plug some Twitter. Let's get you out there to the audience. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Well, on Twitter and Facebook, you can just find me at Golden Earrings, all one word. Basically everything that we have has our poster on it, which has that like big bowling ball eye. So if you're looking up anything about my movie and you're seeing something with like a big bowling ball eye, that's totally me. And we have a fan page on Facebook, Twitter Twitter I mentioned, and our YouTube channel is Golden Earrings Movie. And we've been posting videos about some of our film festival experiences. We just posted up a couple videos about Indie Spirit, and we'll be posting stuff about Dances with Films. And my own personal website is marionkerr.com, all one word, and it has some stuff about the movie, but also stuff about my own projects as an actor and what's going on. So you can always find me there.
And if you want to learn a little bit more about Marion Kerr and her filmography, you can obviously find you on IMDb and check you out there. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I know you got to jet out in a minute or so for another interview. I feel so jolted.
I'm sorry, Nick.
That's okay. So you go have yourself a great time at that interview, though, and I thank you again for coming on the show. And what we're going to do to send you out is we're going to play the trailer for the new Sabi Pictures film that you star in, Heart of Now. So thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Nick. It's been very fun. Thank you.
Thanks, and good luck on everything that you're doing. It's going to blow up. I got to feel it.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna take that feeling and ride with it.
Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's a trailer for Heart of Now. We'll be right back with more Film Snobbery Live right after this.
I don't get this game.
Well, do you want to do this next time at your house?
I have a house guest. Can you sleep on the couch? Is that okay?
Yeah. Do you live by yourself?
Well, I'm trying to help out. I'm trying to help the kid out.
Is she hot?
I don't know.
Yeah,
She's
you know.
Okay.
I have to tell you something. I'm pregnant.
I don't want to have kids, Amber.
Are you breaking up with me?
She got kicked out of her apartment and her boyfriend wouldn't wear it on her.
I'm sorry.
People are watching.
You are beautiful and amazing and awesome.
How are you going to help? I don't really get that.
I could have just said no.
Yeah, but you wouldn't do something like that.
What kind of man are you?
I think I'm ready. I want to get serious about us.
You're not ready.
Whales swim slow. They take their time, and eventually they go around the whole world.
I've got something kind of monumental. I don't know, it'd be nice to have your help.
Do not do this to get this douchebag back.
Is everything okay?
What? What do you want?
I think he should leave.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I have here in my hands, and thank you all, everyone, for sticking around for the second half of the show. Again, we apologize for Kevin Pollak not being here tonight, but we will have him rescheduled ASAP. We've got some interesting things going that we want to talk about, though. What I have here in my hands is a printed out, annotated copy of the Ted Hope's 38 More Ways the Film Industry is Failing Today. And I saw this, and I had such a... The only word I can use is visceral reaction to it, that I felt compelled to talk about it, and not only talk about it in the normal way that we do here at the show, but I was really offended by pretty much the whole thing. There are a few points in here that are valid to semi-valid, and I will give props where props is due, but for the most part, I've decided to kind of take the gloves off a little bit, and Jerry and I had a conversation about this. I had a conversation with my director, Ryan. I said, look, this guy, he's out there, and, he's doing a lot of talking, and, he's a person who knows a lot of people, and I don't know if this is maybe the move I should make. But then I kind of thought about it, and I said, fuck it, because this, I believe, can hurt you. And I'm looking out for what I believe is your best interest as the film, my independent film community, the people who watch my show and take the time out of their day. to do this. Jerry and I kind of discussed it a bit, and we both have some very strong opinions, and we decided that we're going to give these to you honestly. I apologize in advance for any apparent vulgarity that may come out of it, but we're really just very upset. So, Jerry,
it's the best thing for us to talk about it, though, because you called up and you were pissed.
I was pissed.
We got a vent, but also this is going to help people. And I just posted a link in the chat so you could read along with us if you want.
Yeah, if everyone wants to follow along, I think that that'd be a really good idea. So let's get started with this, Jerry. We may interrupt throughout the thing just to break it up a little bit. We've got some other great things to show you. We've got our good friends over at Adam Films have a couple little short bits that we want to show because we think that it'll be a nice respite from our angry tirades. So let's get started. Now, right off the bat, first sentence, I made a note. A year ago, May 15th, 2009, Ted wrote a blog post, 38 American independent film problems and concerns. And my response to that immediately was, wow, 2 years in a row, huh? You're going to sit here and talk about, another 38 ways that the film industry is failing today, concentrating on the negative, and if you're reading throughout most of this, it is very negative, and he offers a lot of criticism of what he calls the industry, like it's this nebulous person out there making decisions for us, while not taking responsibility himself for anything, and also not offering up any suggestions on how to make anything better. In fact, I was just reading a comment on David Brandon's Facebook link that just came up actually 13 minutes ago-ish that Ted Hope put up there. He says he was hoping that he would come up with the solutions. And I know that was probably meant as a joke, but I take that personally because that man has a storied... I don't think he meant that as a joke. I don't care. Either way, that man has a storied career in this industry. He's been in the industry for years. That man has not had to sing for his supper in probably upwards of 20 years. And it offends me for him to say something like that because as a person who's in the industry, a gentleman who's in the industry, working within the confines of the current model, he is not really doing much to bring about change. He talks a lot about change, but I don't see him doing much in the way of actually helping. And for him to take even a sentence like that, to put it off and pass the buck to the independent filmmaker is to me insulting. So I want to kind of go through this just a little bit, and I want to let's talk about this. So let's start with number one. He says, we cannot logically justify any ticket price whatsoever for a non-event film. There are too many better options at too low a price. Simply getting out of the house or watching something somewhere because that is the only place it is currently available does not justify a ticket price enough. We still think of movies as things people will buy. We have to change our thinking about movies to something that enhances other experiences, and if that, and it is that which has monetary value. Film's power as a community organizing tool extends far beyond its power to sell popcorn, and the whole exhibition industry is based on that old popcorn idea. First of all, my original reaction to that is, if you're still thinking about theatrical distribution, you're dumb. I'm sorry to be blunt. With few exceptions, John Paul Rice is a great example, but that guy fell headfirst into a deal that works for his model, and that also just goes to prove that every film should be taken as an individual versus a industry of films. Hollywood is an industry for several reasons. The independent film industry it's a series of small businesses.
It's the independent film community.
I agree.
It's not an industry. It's a community, I think.
I kind of have and there is a sector that could be considered an industry, and those are generally the people who are, basically all those people right now are over at Cannes, or they were at Sundance or South by Southwest. Those people, and I say those people in the nebulous terms, I mean people like, Ted Hope and people who are currently working in that kind of upper indie industry. I'm not saying that, just because you make money means that you're not indie. I'm not saying that it's not just as much work. I'm just saying that it's like going from a public school to a private school. Some people have more advantages than others. But if you're still thinking about theatrical, it's not traditionally a winning model for independent filmmakers. It is a model that is not, it won't make you money unless you're able to do one-offs or four-walling, and you can sell that place out. There are people that are trying to do great things. Sherry Candler has a screening series. The Cinefist screening series put on by Zach Forsman. The Film Courage Interactives put on by David Brandon and Karen Worden of Film Courage.
Those should be your theatrical.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, and even like the Annapolis Pretentious Film Society that Pericles does. I mean, there are pockets of these things that you can start to build an audience and have that theatrical feeling. The problem is that theatrical, for the most part, it's an ego trip. And these days that you can't afford that ego trip. We all want to walk down the red carpet. We all want to sit there in a packed 200, 300 room theater where everyone is watching our stuff up on the silver screen. It's a great feeling. It's a huge feeling of accomplishment. I just think that for some people that are working on on sub $100,000 budgets, it's just too far out of your reach to be able to make a profit off of it. That being said, this list is riddled with industry, business, and I'm gonna skip down real quick just to number 38, where he says, we love to read, talk, and engage more about the business than we do about the art. The entirety of this 38-point blog post is that we don't focus on the business. And by we, he means you. And I will lump myself with you into this with you guys and that because I have to produce something every week myself. There is a business aspect to what I do, and there's an artistic part to what I do. And that's another reason why I got so angry about this. I want to go on to, let's see. I want to go on to number 3 real quick. The film business remains the virtually exclusive domain of the privileged. Although great strides have been made to diversify the industry, the numbers don't lie. The film industry is ruled by white men from middle class or better socioeconomic backgrounds. It is an expensive art form in a competitive field, but it doesn't need to be a closed-door one. Let's face it, if people hire folks who remind them of themselves, these days everyone needs to intern, and the proposition of working for free is too expensive for most. Living in New York City or LA is not affordable for most people starting out. We get more of the same and little progress without greater diversity. And although I essentially mentioned this last year at number 36, the continued poor economy limits diversity even more now. I completely disagree with that entire point. The first thing is you talking about exclusive domain of the privileged. You are that person, Ted. You cannot talk about this. This is like white people talking about how hard it is to be black. You can't do it, pal. I'm sorry. It's just not... It's hypocritical, and as much as you want to consider yourself to be indie, and I respect your body of work. Tao of Steve is one of my favorite movies in the world. I love that flick. I love me some Donald Logue. But the fact is that you lost the ability to work within this smaller community a long time ago. And I feel bad because you have this power over this community, and rather than leading the community, you pay a lot of lip service. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that, you're 100% wrong in what you do. You're making a living, man, and I respect that. But, in this case, I disagree with you talking about that, this community is ruled by the white man. I just had on a female director. I've had and he's got a movie, Life's Passing Me By, that's out. These are movies that are out there and are either playing the festival circuit or whatever. But you know what? These people also have business models for how they're going to make these investments back. And you talk a lot about how the investment world is kind of dried up for a lot of these independent filmmakers. I disagree with that as well. I think that having a shitty economic downturn and a continued economic downturn is not a detriment to this community and to this industry. It is a opportunity for those who are creative and those who are able to rise up. And that's not saying that, some people are going to fail. Some people are great artists but are shitty business people. It happens. That being said, though, film has been proven time and again in the 100-plus years history of film. Film has been a solid investment during times of economic downturn. So I don't know where you're getting that information, but it's incorrect. I can now go to page 2. So Jerry,
yes.
I want to skip around a little bit here. You had a point that you wanted to make at number 7. Let's go ahead and you talk about it. I want you to take over, just for a second.
Okay.
Just for number 7.
Sure. Okay, number 7. We have done very little thinking or discussing about how to make events out of our movies. The list seems to have stopped at 3D. There's only been one Rocky Horror Picture Show, and the first one is very, very old. Music flourishes because the live component is generally quite different from the recorded one, and the film biz could benefit from a greater difference of what utilizes different platforms. Okay, I disagree with that in many ways, but he's saying that we're not making events out of movies, and that's just not true. The Room is probably the perfect example of that. The screenings, they do a special screening in different states, usually once or a few times a month. Sometimes the director, writer, lead actor, Tommy Wiseau is there, and those screenings are insane. People go dressed in character, they recite lines of dialogue, they shout at the movie screen, they throw stuff at the screen at certain parts. During key phrases that are known to be ridiculously bad, they all yell at the screen, and these screenings are sold out across the country constantly. And right now they're doing a screening in the biggest theater in Manhattan, or they just happened, I think it just passed, and it's sold out. So people are making events out of their movies, and The Room is just one example. A more current example is the new horror film Birdemic, which is selling out. It's playing for the film festival circuit, but it's also selling out set one-off screenings where people are going to experience, they're going for the experience of seeing it in a room full of like-minded people that are going to be making fun of the movie, yelling at the screen, and that's what Rocky Horror Picture Show offers. People to go and make fun and enjoy the movie and go and dressed up, and they're going for the experience. People are still doing that. Even just recently, Evil Dead, a distribution company, created a 35mm print of Evil Dead, and they've been screening it around the country for a year. One-off screenings, and they've been going to different states and screening it all around the country, selling out every time, and it's just because like-minded people are going for the event of seeing that movie. So there are films that are still making them events. So I disagree with that, but I do agree more people should make events out of their movies, but people are doing it. Don't say that the last movie to do that was Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And not to toot our own horn a bit, but we have an entire column called Cult Following that's on this website that is devoted to these type of event films, these midnight and cult movies. And I think that just shows how out of touch with that particular genre he actually is. Just because, The English Patient is not an event movie doesn't mean that, Golden Earrings can't be, or Heart of Now, or World Full of Nothing.
Just like Chuck, I'll actually lock you in the room, and you can't leave after the movie's over.
Yeah, you would do that. Now, here's the next one.
That happened by accident at one screening, but that's for another day.
Here's the next one that I only had one response to, and I apologize in advance, but to the audience if you were offended, but this was the only response that I could come up with that succinctly kind of expressed how I felt. Number 8, we ignore film's most unique attribute, as demonstrated by how little of people's online time is spent watching content. He quotes 30%. We know that people want connectivity and community more than anything else. There used to be film societies, just like reviewers once placed films in cultural context. We need to recreate a community aspect of film going. If you wonder why people don't go to the movies more, it is not as much about the content as it is about the lack of community. Without that, why not just stay home to watch? The film's strongest attribute is the ability to work as a community organizing tool. film forces us to feel, to think, to engage. Let's not ignore that. Fuck you. My feeling on that is that, yes, people want connectivity and community. They also don't want to pay $20 a ticket and then pay for another $20 for popcorn. They don't want to deal with really shitty audiences. And maybe audiences in LA or New York are different than they are here in Boston, although I doubt it. But it's not that in a theater there's a lack of community. I don't even think there's a lack of community out there here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing what I do. I wouldn't have 5,000 and change people following me on Twitter that are interested in what we're doing. And I wouldn't have filmmakers calling me every day saying thank you. I wouldn't have people, you know, I wouldn't have other people calling me for references to talk to other people and connecting. You and I were both at DIY days. And look at the room full of people that was there. That is a fucking community of people.
Yeah. And even saying a smaller community, the only time I go to the movies is when I go with a group of friends. And we're going to, that's a place for us to get together, to talk about the movies, to hang out and chat. That's a smaller community than what you're talking about, but that's a sense of community at the movie theater. So, yeah, that's completely missing the ball. And all the film societies and, you know, like we said, the Annapolis Pretentious Film Society, that's a group of people that love indie films that get together to watch an indie film and discuss an indie film. And then they talk about it online, on Twitter, and on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's a community.
Cinefist, you know, Film Courage Interactive, all this kind of stuff. They're trying to foster this thing. And, you know, I'm sorry that if you can't get off your golden toilet long enough to fucking go out there and be a part of this, but I understand that, you know, you go, you give your keynote, and then you leave, you know, after you talk about how everyone needs to work together. I can appreciate that, you know, that you're a busy guy, but you can't be too busy for this community. And I'm not talking about the community that has budgets of $1.2 and up $1 million. Those guys don't need help. They don't. They have the ability to get people like Ellen Page and Nathan Fillion and Rainn Wilson in their movies and get it directed by guys like James Gunn. And I love me some James Gunn. You know, so that's not a knock. But the fact of the matter is, man, is that, you know, those people don't need help. The people that need help are the guys that just made a $5,000 movie and now need another $10,000 to go out there and promote it. They're the people who made a $50,000 movie and had to remortgage their house in order to do it. You know, or, you know, the people who remortgage their house is a perfect example of Jamin and Kyle Winans and Inc. You know, they're the people that, you know, need your support, not James Gunn. And I'm looking forward to that movie. I like that, the concept, but, you know, you promoting that in the way that you are is insulting to this community. So there are a lot of other things. I want to go over to number 13. I want to skip a little bit more. We don't recognize that one of film's greatest assets is the ability to generate data. Filmmakers and financiers should be insisting on owning the data their films generate. It is an incredibly valuable commodity. The VOD platform allows for tracking of where and when and who in terms of the business. Yet this data is restricted to aggregators, not creators. When you license something for a small fraction of its cost, you shouldn't you share in everything that it generates? You talk about VOD here, that allows for tracking of where, when, and who in terms of the business. Apparently, you've never had a film on VOD on Amazon because you can't. The numbers are skewed. The numbers are not true. And it's reasons because of this that persons like John Paul Rice, another producer just like yourself, took 1 Hour Fantasy Girl and pulled it from Amazon VOD because the amount of views and hits that he was getting did not match up to their reporting, and their reporting was incomplete and sloppy at best. And because the feeling was is because he is not a studio and a high revenue generator, he's not going to get the type of reporting that a actual accounting firm would actually need to accurately depict sales. So VOD from the big boys are not where it's at. I agree with you. Saying right here, I agree with you that filmmakers need to own their data, own their information. I just think that your data is incomplete. Moving on. You talk about number 15. Why can't our industry develop more stars? I'm going to stop it right there. I agree with you. There are a lot of talented people in the independent film community. They're really a lot of talented people. And the reason why they don't have value, and I'm going to put this out there, guys, actors don't promote themselves. Filmmakers promote themselves. I have filmmakers, no shortage of filmmakers coming on here every week. I'm booking, double booking, triple booking people out here. Filmmakers will come on here any day of the week, but rarely do you find independent actors that go out there, and actresses that go out there and that are actively promoting the work that they're doing. And the reason why is because they've done the work, now they need to go get paying work. And I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that that's the situation, is that these people are working actors and actresses, and they need to go out there and they need to stay hungry for what they're doing in the next big project. Again, I'm not saying it's right. I don't agree with it. I think that, you look at Conan O'Brien or, back in the heyday, I guess, and, Leno and all these guys, who is on their shows? It's the actors and actresses. Very rarely, unless it's like a Michael Moore, who's like a personality, do you see a filmmaker coming on and talking about their movies. Generally, it's the actors and actresses. I get just the opposite here on my show in this community. So I'm just putting that out there. Actors, actresses, you really should be promoting more. I will give a little bit of props for Ted pointing that out, but I think that his reasoning is off. And look, Ted, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You're not sitting in my chair. I'm not sitting in your chair. We cater to two completely different audiences, in my opinion. And I'm sure that a lot of this is a matter of perspective. But that being said, I still have a need to discuss this. He talks about number 16. We need a greater embrace of innovation and experimentation in terms of both business models and building communities. Innovation, experimentation, truly free film, shit like that, that's all buzzwords. If you really feel that there's an issue with innovation and experimentation, again, you're not watching the movies that I'm watching, number one. And number two, you're also not doing anything about it. So stop using buzzwords. Stop trying to create this brand for yourself and help someone, for Christ's sake.
Someone that needs help.
Someone that needs help. Yeah, I got to put this also out there. A while back, and this actually was in this here somewhere as well that I was going to mention, if I'm going to bring it up now. A while back you put out another blog post about, if these certain people were to start crowdfunding, that you would donate to them. That is some serious hypocritical shit. And not only that, it's elitist. And I hate it. I hate it, and it makes me fucking angry. So you should not be limiting your ability to help other people to the select few. That is
and let's
the
just
industry.
Say, the people on that list were experienced filmmakers that have made films and already have a career.
Yeah, you're not taking
They weren't first-time filmmakers or people that had a vision but didn't have a budget. They were experienced filmmakers that have made films before. Just leave it at that.
Yeah. There's just so much more here. Where are the new curators? Number 22. Where are the new curators? The ones with a national or international audience. Why have we not had a more concentrated industry community-wide effort to give a home to all the fired film critics? Is it that we are afraid of the bad, just like the studios are afraid of social media and film future exchanges because they are worried about negative buzz? We just need to make better movies and treat people well, and then there is no negative to spread, right? Apparently, with such a plethora of great work being made, we need to offer audiences better filters to sift through it. What's up with our collective failure to deliver more Oprahs? Individuals who support will lead to action. Like you, asshole? Where are you doing to do all this? Where are you being the curator and helping out filmmakers and fired film critics? Look, yeah, you, me, Roger Ebert, all those guys, when the dudes who were fired from Variety got shit canned, yeah, we all put out a tweet about it and we all Facebooked about it. But you know what? Did you give them a job afterwards? No.
They went to IndieWire, most of them.
See, there you go. I mean, where was your hand in that? I mean, look, I would hire them, but I can't fucking afford it. I don't pay anybody here because I can't afford it. Why? Because I can't get people, out there to finance something like this, and I'm not looking for the handouts, so don't worry about it. But
I just want to say, I think he's saying where are the international and national curators. I think it's more about the local curators. You got to go after, you go to a few local curators and you create a national campaign for your film by getting it screened at like a local local indie screening series.
I mean, you even
it's like
look
one
at
state and another state. And that's where that's what you got to do now.
You take it from here and then you bring it overseas. I mean, you know how many great films played like the London Film Festival last year, and that are a lot of screening series out there. Look, it's just all right. So here's the other thing. We know number 20. Actually, hold on a second. Here we go. I want to go number 23. There's a couple points that are made in this throughout that reference technology and people being afraid of technology or not understanding it. I'm a former IT guy. I'll set you straight on this one. Welcome to Daddy's Dojo. I'm here for you. All right, so number 23. The majority in the film industry are essentially Luddites and technophobes, barely aware of the tools we have available to us to enhance, economize, and spread our work. How can we teach our industry how to use what has already been invented, and then focus on everything else we need but don't have yet? There are people out there that are trying to reinvent the wheel. No lie. Look what Kevin Smith was trying to do with the People Studio. I mean, we called him out on that a while ago. But people that are in the film industry, I disagree, are not Luddites and technophobes. And if you're talking about the film industry in that meta person type of way again, if you're talking about Hollywood, Hollywood is one thing. If you're talking about, anyways, if the people in the industry were Luddites and technophobes, internet streaming and the propagation of internet film on YouTube and Vimeo and all these things would not be around. VOD would not be around because people would be afraid of it. People would not understand how it works. Those people would be like, my mom. But they're not. They're getting it done. And you can teach the old dog new tricks. It's not it's not difficult, and to be honest, spreading your work has never been easier. Economizing on your work has also never been easier if you know your market, know your audience. Some people spread themselves too thin, and you pick up a nickel here, a dollar there. Because you have a wide reach, is not going to help you when your film really should be niched over here, where that's where the money's on the table. But no, it's not a technophobe problem.
You know what's funny though about regarding that, like you were saying, streaming and internet and video on demand options and stuff like that. The indie filmmakers and honestly the porn industry, they're the ones that pioneered that, and then bigger studios and the Indiewood studios, now Hollywood is starting to come in on that too. But he's saying the industry is technophobes. Maybe he's referring to, his industry, the Hollywood industry, and that they're just starting to embrace video on demand and stuff with the new rules that, now they can stream studio films.
Oh.
Magnolia has been doing that for 2 years.
So I gotta do just a couple more of these. I know that we're gonna run a little bit long tonight. I apologize to everyone, but here's the thing. Number 27. Where's that list on best practices for preventing your film from being pirated? You can't, asshole. Oh my God, once your film is in the hands of one person, it has the opportunity to be pirated. Once it's on a computer that is able to be hacked, it can be pirated. You cannot stop the proliferation of information.
Sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say, if a $300 million movie can't stop them from getting pirated, an indie film's not going to stop not pirated.
Remember when Blu-ray first came out and they said, we've got this technology that is going to make it impossible for it to be cracked? Dude, it was cracked the weekend it came out. Look, as a technically adept person, you can't stop it, man. You can't stop the flow of information. You can't stop the signal, as they say. So that's that. Let's see here. Number 30, kind of also related to technology. With our world and industry changing daily, shouldn't we have come up with a place where we learn the new technology, or at least hear of it, one that is welcoming even for Luddites? The tech sites speak their own vernacular, which is a tad intimidating for the uninitiated. Everyone's got that. They're everywhere. I mean, my site, IndieWire, even just general press releases for the most part are able to convey what the products and services that are being offered are. Not only that, there are a lot of conventions out there. There's NAB, there's Show West, there's South by Southwest. There's a lot of things out there that are, people are able to, to get this information. I'm gonna go down to another one though. Number 33. and this one actually made me want to hit people. The past 10 years of digital film are going to vanish. We do little to preserve not just the works, but also the process and documents behind them. Digital is not a stable medium. We have a migration and storage issue in terms of keeping access up to date. Those films that currently exist in digital format only won't stand the test of time. Film remains a better format for archival purposes. We need to take action soon if we are not going to see our recent culture get out of reach. Are you retarded? Just, and I mean that with all due respect. Dude, digital film deteriorates. And yes, hard drives do have mechanical failures. Flash drives, after 100,000 or a million, overwrites, can definitely lose the ability to store information. That's why there's things out there called backups, and and the cost of storage at this point is so goddamn inexpensive. Whether you're hosting something on the Amazon S3 service, or whether you're using a RAID array, whether you're using something even as simple as like a Drobo. Film deteriorates, fucker. People are going over now and they're converting their films to digital because they're losing the prints. These things, film doesn't, film won't hold up, after 50, 60 years. I mean, the original 35 millimeter print of Star Wars is like fucked. I mean,
there are tons. I was gonna say there are tons of lost films from like the 20s and the 30s and like even the 50s because the film deteriorated.
So, anyways, I think you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
I like how you were yelling and screaming, and then you go, so anyway, I think you're wrong. In a very calming manner.
Look, man, I want to believe in what you're doing. I think you're in a position that you're in a unique position that puts you in front of people in a way that people listen to you. More so than they listen to me, and I appreciate that. You've got the career backing you up. You've got, you've built a career of respect in the industry, and I in turn respect that. I just really think, and again, pardon my vulgarity, pardon my inability to possibly express myself in a non-conducive way to this conversation. But the problem is, sir, is that I think you need to take a step back and you need to sit where I'm sitting with my audience occasionally, and you need to get a different perspective on things. The people that you were talking to at the keynote at DIY Days, they bought you a hook, line, and sinker, but where were you after that? There is no community on your end except for the industry. And dude, I get it. You're a producer. Your job is to raise and make money, and I respect that. That's what part of my job is. But you've lost touch with the people who aren't making $1 million movies, and you will continue to be successful. You will continue to get people that will swallow this shit, and because people, unfortunately, are looking for someone who's going to stand up like that and have articles in the Huffington Post and shit like that, But don't lose track of what your actual message is. All of this, I have pages of this, and it's all hype, bullshit, and negativity. And want me to tell you what the solution to all of this is? Because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to present you with the solution to these problems right now. The solution is ignoring all of this and recognizing that each individual production is unique, and that what worked for Aaron Crumley, what worked for Lance Weiler, what's worked for you is not necessarily going to work for them. There can only be one first of everything. One first movie to be digitally projected in the world, one first 3D movie, one first talkie and black and white film and color film and all this. There can only be one first. There can only be whatever, and then everything else has to, either copy that and hope to get, to be the Pepsi to their Coca-Cola, or they're going to have to figure out a way to become their Dr. Pepper. It's rough out there. It's dog eat dog. It's survival of the fittest. And I'm pretty calm and I'm pretty pleasant when it comes to reviewing people's movies, because I want to see the best in these movies, and I want to see. I'd rather educate than denigrate. But in this case, I think you're being harmful, and you're being harmful to my audience, and I feel that I need to stand up for them because they're just going to say, good job, and or they'll put in a blog post. I'm telling you right now, I don't agree with this, and that's my opinion. Take it or leave it. So, that being said, everyone, I think we're done for the night. I think it's that. Yeah. So yeah, I will quote our buddy Aaron Crumley and say I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. And that being said, I think that's the place to end the show. I want to thank the guys from Film Courage. I want to thank Jerry. I want to thank Marinelle. I want to thank Bobby Bless. I want to thank everyone else who showed up. I want to thank our guest Marion Kerr. I want to thank everyone who just sat through this whole fucking rant. And I apologize again for the vulgarity and for all that. But I just want you to understand how passionate I am about your films and your careers, and understanding that this in its context, it doesn't matter, and it's up to you to define the future of your movies, not someone telling you where your obstacles are. You know, the only obstacles that are there are the ones that you put in front of you. So, thank you for watching this episode of FilmSnobbery Live. We're going to show you now a cool little thing from Adam Films. It's to kind of lighten up the mood at the end here. It is actually they have a bunch of things. You go to www.adam.com or adamfilms.com, and you look out for it. It's Team Tiger Awesome put out these little shorts called the various 11 endings for Lost. And I know that we go up against Lost sometimes on our time slot, so I thought that would be apropos to kind of give them a little plug and to get it out there because yeah, it's funny. So I'm gonna throw out there. Here's a couple of the little spots. I think I'll play 3 spots from the Adam Films Lost series. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
I killed you once. I guess I have to thank you for the opportunity to do it again.
Be against the rules, remember? Unless you've got another loophole.
How's this for a loophole?
Only thing left to do is find out who's under this mask.
Charles Widmore!
Of course! He thought he could scare us away and keep the island for himself.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling castaways.
Now let's see who Charles Widmore really is.
The physical representation of the duality of good versus evil that man must face every day.
Ruh-roh.
I want to thank everybody for a great series. It's an amazing cast. Thank you to JJ, Damon, Carlton. Thanks for the White Stripes for stopping by. Good night, everybody.